Good morning, everybody, and welcome back to La Crosse, Wisconsin. I'm here with my longtime friend, Marty Hughes, and Marty is also the proprietor of Kayakjak Outfitters and the reigning top team Challenge Cup winners from the 2019 Kayak Bass Fishing National Championship. And Marty's also sitting in 36th place in the Angler of the Year standings, and he's competing for the Challenge Series Championship. We got 3 events going on here: the Pro Series Championship, the Trail Series Championship, and the Challenge Series Championship. One angler can win all 3, or there could be 3 different champions. So Marty, talk to us about what you expect to happen here on the Mississippi in La Crosse.
Well, I'd like to win that big fish too. That'd be pretty good. That's,
Yeah, there's
that's
that.
extra bonus cash.
There's that.
No, I don't know what to expect. I just know that just being out here is incredible. You picked a great weekend.
Well, tell us how you got here. How did you qualify? What's your path to greatness if you win this thing?
Well, the Trail Championship Series, I placed I placed in the top 10 in several. I believe this year. My highest, I think, was 5th at Sam Rayburn, maybe.
Okay.
Or I know I was in the top 10 there, and then also at Mark Twain.
So you said Sam Rayburn and Mark Twain. So we had 5 divisions this year. And one of them was Texas, the other one was North Central. Yeah. And then, so you just mentioned tournaments in 2 different, so you fish multiple regions.
Well, I had to because of job and so forth. So I hit 2 in the Central region, which I didn't have points for the Angler of the Year. But I think I'd have probably been in top 5 there, with what I finished. And so I went to Texas for one. I wanted to get my 3rd one in so that I could compete here, and do well. And so I did cross regions, but Texas was awesome. That was a great event too down at Sam Rayburn. And then Mark Twain, and then I fished, I can't remember the other one right now. But anyway.
It's pretty good when we provide enough opportunities that you can forget the tournaments that you fished in. So
I've fished a total of, this is my 55th tournament of the year.
Nice.
Online and open.
Okay.
And between my job, I feel fortunate and blessed to be able to do that, And then this will be my final one of the year for this year. But yeah, it's been a great year. And of course, we have a Nebraska Trail Series too, and fishing that. And I just like traveling and doing this.
So talk to me about the Top Team Challenge Cup Championship. Do you have intentions of going back and defending that title at next year's event?
Oh yeah, I'm going to announce it now. We got a new team.
You got a new team. New team or teammate?
Just. You know how the NFL is.
Yeah.
You got to keep a few franchise players around.
Right.
But then you got to look around for another one. I look at Belichick for the Patriots. That is a master.
But no Antonio Brown, right?
We don't have Antonio Brown. You know what? The person we have is.
Do you want to announce it right now?
I'm going to announce it. She
can fish. I'll tell you what. We'll announce it at the end of the video. Okay. But if he says she can fish, and he's adding a new member to the team, you guys comment below and tell me who you think that person is that he is adding to the team as a ringer to go back to back. So hey, winning the Top Team Challenge Cup against that number of accomplished anglers is one thing. Going back to back will be something even bigger. We've got a little bit of a surprise in play for if you can go back to back, and we'll talk about that a little bit later. So anyway, guys, listen, this guy right here is one of the OGs of kayak fishing, been around from the very beginning. He's in all the early books along with myself. He was one of the first guys to call me with this crazy notion that kayak fishing is going to be big off the coast, and I said, yeah, man, trust me, I believe you. And we have shared ideas and hours on the phone and just exchanged tons of ways that we can both promote and make the sport better. He's an educator. He's a fitness guy. One of the inspirations for me originally starting to get my fat butt back in shape, and has called numerous times to say, hey, dude, if you need any help, let me know. And so all around great guy, fierce competitor, and a leader of not only men, but young men and women, not just in the classroom or being an administrator at an educational institution, but out here in the field as well. So Marty, we appreciate it. Glad to have you as part of the community.
Yeah, you bet.
Now we're going to get out in the water and see if we can't find some hungry Mississippi River bass.
Let's go. So this is kind of like my trademark right here for what I fish with. That's the Nico right there. Usually I paint these tips black, but didn't today. But anyway, it's kind of a cross between a Ned and a Wacky and a Cinco all in one with a TRD on it, so this tail floats up. But it seems to drive the fish crazy, but I've caught more fish on this than any other lure I use. And I like to finesse fish. I got a leader on here, fluorocarbon leader, and some braid, and I've got some bright braid so I can see the line move. But this has kind of like been my go-to, and I've caught fish in every state with it in this color, molten craw. And what I do is I take this nail weight and I actually heat it up, put it in, take it out and like super glue it back in so it doesn't come out. And this hook is a 1/0. I use a 1/0 or a 2/0, and I'll catch every kind of species of fish. Pike, bluegills, crappie, whatever. But it does keep the bluegills off because it's fairly big, you know. But the bass love it. So we'll see if the La Crosse bass love it today. Smallmouth, eat this thing up. So we'll see what happens. There you go, first fish of the day. Little smallie. Wait, is that a smallie? No, that's all right, that's a largemouth. That's cool. It doesn't count though in the tournament. So when I first started, it was about exercise. You know, I wanted to do something that was going to help me stay fit, and I was kind of not getting I had 10 knee surgeries and couldn't run, and I was cycling a little bit, but I thought, you know what, how can I get an upper body workout? And so I bought this kayak, and this is like 1997 or 8 in there, that school year. Anyway, I get out there and I started seeing these fish because the water where I was at was clear, and I already fished, had a boat, and I thought, I'm gonna get my pole. It was over after that. I spent the rest of my days on a kayak, sold my boat, and then I think it was about 6 years before anybody went with me, except my kids. There's a little bit of history for you.
Well, guys, we are out on the water. Captain Jack is right over there. He has caught one fish on a Nico rig. I found some rocks over here by one of these islands, and it looks like there's rocks on all 4 points, and they put those rocks in there to really shore these islands up to keep the erosion down. Here in this Mississippi River creates quite a bit of current even in these backwaters, and so you kind of have to shore these things up. And there was a really major plan that they put in place here to bring some of these islands back and to create some of this erosion abatement, and we've talked about that in previous episodes. But anyway, those rocks hold heat, and that heat really attracts fish as these temperatures start to plummet. We got 49-degree water temperature right now. It was 46.5 when we launched this morning. Sun's getting up. Not a lot of wind today, but there's quite a bit of current because the water's coming down. It was really high and out of the banks as recently as 2 weeks ago. So a lot of anglers are struggling to find fish or hammering them. So I've talked to a couple of guys that are either on them and said, I found my fish, I'm not even going to pre-fish anymore, and they're just organizing tackle and gear and maybe paddling around looking for a few new spots. And then I've found guys that have struggled for a couple of days of pre-fishing that haven't even found a fish. So I'm going to experiment and see what I can find. We're going to hang back and see how Captain Jack does. Spend a day or so, or day, most of today and part of another day on the water with him. We're going to catch up with some of the anglers, the other anglers in the kayak bass fishing tournaments that are here. When I say tournaments, what we do is all year long we run online state challenges and special challenges where you can qualify for what we call the Challenge Series Championship. And the challenges are online events that you can fish all month long, but they're online and virtual. So this is the only live meetup tournament of that series, and it's the championship. We also have trails. This year we had 5 regions. Next year we'll have 6. And then the trails culminate in regional finals, and then the regional finals culminate in Trail Series Championship. The Trail Series Championship is worth double points for Angler of the Year. So the other title that's up for grabs here and the other coveted recognition is that of Angler of the Year. So we've got the Trail Series Championship, the Challenge Series Championship. We also ran our first Pro Series this year, and so the Pro Division has their championship here. And then on top of that, we have the Angler of the Year race. One angler could win all 4. One angler could win 2 or more, and it could be 4 different people that win all 4 titles. Golly. Even crappy coffee tastes good when it's cold. Like, I've found that the colder it is outside is directly proportionate to the inverse ratio of how good the coffee is when you're comfortable. Like, in other words, on a sliding scale, crap coffee is phenomenal when it's super, super cold, and when everything's comfortable and you're sitting in a hotel room or in a hotel lobby or something like that, it may not be that great. Right now, it's one of the best cup of coffees I've ever had.
Got one. Nice one too. Oh yeah, baby. Oh, need to have this happen on tournament day though, huh? Look at that baby. That would be a good fish for tomorrow. A really good one. This is what it's about right here. Awesome. Mississippi River bass, fall bass. She's about a 15. Pretty stout too. I think we got a pattern. If this holds up, we're gonna see what happens here later, but just nabbed this on the Nico rig. I felt like I was snagged. So hopefully we can keep this going for tomorrow. There you go, man. Now you kind of see how this works, right? So basically it's taken me 2 hours, but we're figuring something out here. Now what I want to do is see if I can get another one down the ways a little bit. Because if you can get 2 or 3 out of here, that just means they're loaded in there. And like I said, a lot of guys are going to give up on spots because it's cold in the morning, but I think it's going to heat up as the day goes on. Think I should use a trailer hook?
I don't.
No? Okay.
But it ain't out of the question. You know what you might ought to do is mix it up a little bit with a spinnerbait.
I just threw a spinnerbait a second ago. White?
Yeah. Honestly, anything. They like a gold and nickel together in this little bit more stained water.
Yeah.
But man, they'll hit it all. These are the least discriminating fish anywhere I've ever fished.
Yeah. I'm getting hit. I'm getting hit, man.
If you can find 3 places just like this, and the current stays, if there's enough water to keep it running like that, you can sit in these places like this. Because the beautiful thing about it is fish will reset on these places, you know?
Oh yeah.
They just scattered shad right there on that bank.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, this is a really good fish. Nice.
Yeah.
That current right there.
Chatterbait?
Yep.
That's a good one. Right off that flowing water.
Look at that.
That's a 16 or 17,
Yep,
isn't it?
he came through that cut right there where that water's running through them rocks.
Yeah.
All right, first fish of the day, and it absolutely choked that chatterbait. So let me get this bait out of his throat, get him back in the water, and then we'll show you what we caught him on. That is a fat, healthy Mississippi River backwater bass. Love it when they got those character spots on them and stuff. So okay, let's get him in the water. All right, so let me show you what I caught this fish on. One of my favorite setups for fall fishing, fishing in general, anytime they're on a shad bite, but fall especially, Z-Man Project Z chatterbait, a little bit bigger than the jackhammer that's really popular. It's got that rounded off head on it. What I like about that rounded off head, as you can see a lot of the paint's missing, I can bump it through rocks and it comes through there real nice. Big hook, so when they swipe at it, they get hooked. And just a lot of flash. And so in this one, I'm using a little bit of a chartreuse belly because we got some stain to the water. This iridescent pearl shad, and then I've got a pearl iridescent Yamamoto Seiko trailer on there, which is one of my favorites to give it a little extra action, to push that tail out a little bit. But the scenario that we're fishing right here is the water from the main Mississippi River channel is flowing through these backwaters, and there's these rocks at the end of these islands. And so what there is there's a little break in the island. And even though the water temperature is 49, these fish still orient very heavily to to current. And so right now these fish are laying up next to these rocks, and that current is coming through a little seam right there. And I threw that chatterbait just inside the current and brought it through that seam, and the fish was right there. Marty pulled in and cast into the same spot and had a fish flash at it, but didn't hook it. But those are the little things you're looking for, these little islands, little current breaks. We've got the sun on this side, so it's kind of warming up that side of the rocks. It literally is like the perfect scenario for where you're going to catch fish here. So that was about a 16.5 to 17.5 inch fish. I didn't bring my measuring board, but 5 of those fish will definitely put you in contention, but you're going to need a kicker fish a little bit bigger than that to really take home the title up here in La Crosse, Wisconsin. So anyway, we're going to get back over there, see if we can't catch a fish, work our way down, hitting these islands and trying to find these current breaks in these rock piles, because these fish seem to be orienting right next to that. I've seen them scatter bait a couple times. That's what made me tie on a chatterbait. But yeah, they're here and they're hungry.
About the national championship and winning the team challenge.
The national championship, about a week before we headed down, I got a phone call from James Francis, good friend, and we saw there was a team thing going on, and there was some pretty good anglers on those teams, and James called up and says, hey, why don't we get a team? And so said, okay. And so we thought, okay, how are we going to get sponsorship and all that? So I sponsored, and some other companies helped us sponsor, and we were actually making phone calls the night before we left to see who was going to be the additional guy in our team. And Joshua Booth came through for us and joined up. We thought we had some pretty good anglers on our team, and you know, I like looking at the other teams. Like I said, they were loaded, and so we just said we're just going to go fish. And I thought everybody on our team knows how to catch a big fish every once in a while, and we went out there, and after day one, everybody had gotten, something that was pretty good measurable, and so we were sitting in second after day one. We were pretty excited, and everybody was fishing to their strengths, It wasn't like they were doing anything new. And day two produced again. In fact, we lost some giants even through that. But we stayed. I think the key was being consistent, and all 5 guys had to be consistent. And then it built a team camaraderie. Interestingly enough, we all stayed in the same cabin, but we all went our separate ways, during the day. And on day 3 it was over. But on day 3 we kind of went out early and did our final day. But that was pretty cool to win that. We had a lot of confidence going into it, thinking we could do it. At the same time, man, we were very respectful of the teams we were going against, because they were really good. And to win that was really cool, and it brought something back to the Midwest, because I think there's some really good anglers in the Midwest, and I don't think anybody gets overlooked, but I just feel like, Nebraska, Missouri, Kansas, even Texas, they're kind of south, but there's some really good anglers in that area too, in Iowa as well. So as this sport grows, I think it's cool that we'll always be the first ones that won that team cup and took it home, and it's kind of cool to show the kayak anglers in our area, what there is out there.
So are you going to compete in the Team Challenge Cup again this year?
The plan is we're going to compete. 4 of us have qualified for the national. Jeremiah did not. Of course, he has some young kids and so forth, and we understand that. But I'll tell you what, that guy can flat out fish. But we had to come up with another person, so we went on a recruiting trail. And an old friend, an old young friend that actually kind of was with her when she started kayak fishing. And she's actually done some guiding for us at Kayakjak Outfitters, and very highly respected across the country. And that's the one and only Christine Fisher is going to fish on our team, and we think she can do pretty well with us, and we think we got a pretty good team coming back. As far we've been asked, are you going to defend your title? You know what? You fish, and I guess I focus on my effort, not so much the end result. and we're with some guys that put a lot of effort into what they do. And so I don't think about the anxiety or anything like that. Just, you know, you just focus on what you're doing and your effort into it, and the rest will take care of itself.
All right, guys, so we motored back to the bank, and Alex is out doing an interview with with Marty about, you know, his business and kayak fishing and who he is and what he does and all that good stuff. And so we motored back over. We're going to load everything up. Have to head up to town. Got to do some setup stuff for the event tonight, for the captain's meeting. Captain's meeting is where we put out the rules and the specifics to a specific area, hand out the unique identifiers and things along those lines. But yeah, we got to load up. I cranked up the truck, let it warm up a little bit, got the phone back on charge. We've got to load up all this gear and head back into town and figure out, you know, where everybody's at. If I can get everything done, my goal is to jump back on the water one more time. Got the skunk off, so I caught a fish today. That was a chunky little fish, right where I thought it would be, catching it the way I thought I should catch it, you know. So everything played out, but the feeding time's a little bit later in the day, and I think if we can get back out on the water, maybe hit Lake Alaska a little bit north of La Crosse. There's some islands out there that I'm very familiar with, rock piles and little cuts and dips and things like that, where I think these fish will be staging with this current coming through. And I'm pretty sure we can find some fish, just a matter of whether or not I'm gonna have enough time left by the time we get everything done to set up for the event. So it's part of the job, not complaining, but we get to head back to town. My awesome, beautiful, amazing, wonderful, all that good stuff wife, Christy, is inbound. She should be getting in there just about the time I am. And we're going to switch hotels because they ran out of rooms at the one I'm at because of all these anglers. And I'm going to give my room to Todd Patrick, who's going to be the tournament director. And then I'm going to change hotel rooms. And Christy and I'll treat it like a little honeymoon of sorts. One of our favorite places to go, La Crosse, Wisconsin. Yeah, time to load our gear up and go check out the town. You guys not coming out right here, are you?
No.
Oh, you're just loading and go? Okay.
Going
Cool.
out of here, Dad. You load your dad up.
Yeah, cool. No problem.
What happens if you get all big?
That's the dad loading dock right there. That's what they call it.
Fishing out of,
Yeah.
everybody fish the same way?
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah, it's a good time. Cool, thanks. Good shooting them, man. Y'all knock them down. Duck hunters, some of my favorite people on the planet, man. Those guys are, yeah. So when I'm not kayak fishing, I like doing that. I like sitting in a tree and wasting time and waiting on a deer to come by so I can turn it into a hamburger. This guy over here doesn't realize that, he does realize we're filming, but he decided he just had to bring that tractor over here and dump. Look. Like right where I was about to pull in. Like, why? Why, bruh? Why? So anyway, here we go. Most important thing, be safe. Second most important thing, have fun. There's a lot of people taking this way too seriously and stressing out. This place can turn on tomorrow. And these are these are fish that spend 5 months under ice. 48-degree water temperature ain't nothing for them. They're gonna light up. We've got a warming trend. The current is running and it's stacked up and it's now steady and all the current seams are laid out. There's V's pointing to where the fish are all over this damn place. Just go find them. It really is that simple. All right, guys, so listen, that's gonna do it for a day of tough fishing, but it looks like conditions are improving for tomorrow. So you guys do me a favor, come back tomorrow for day 2 of my trip to La Crosse, Wisconsin for the Trail Series, Pro Series, and Challenge Series Championship. I gotta be honest with you, what I'm gonna do now is change into my tights, throw on my blades, and hit the ice.